Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Slangy. In this channel I really aim to encourage people, motivate, as well as make us be self-aware of who we are and how we relate to other people. Today I want to talk about boundaries and self-accountability. Just to put a disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist or therapist or anything of that sort, but these are things that I've picked up because I've just always been frustrated. I've always been attracting the same people, and I've always been dealing with the same issues every day. You come back home and you're frustrated. Why did so-so treat me like this? Why did James talk to me like that? And stuff like that and stuff like that. And I realized that in all this, the common denominator was me. So if I'm always having problem with people and how they treat me and stuff like that, clearly there is something amiss about myself that I need to deeply look into, so that I can now relate with people better, or just not find myself in the same situations every day. And in the course of this, I realized that firstly, it was boundaries. And secondly, it was accountability. So I'm going to start with boundaries. For me, what I've realized is I was always frustrated because I lacked proper grounded boundaries. And the frustration was coming from analyzing why someone treated me the way that they did, or why did they not respond the way that I was anticipating for them to respond. It could be a relationship. Let me just give that example, because I think most of this self-awareness and improvement came from being in a relationship I personally feel like conditioned me in a toxic way, and that was able to carry on for so long because I myself didn't know who I was, what I wanted, and what my boundaries are. I know some people can say that, no, I know who I am and stuff like that, but if you keep finding yourself in the same toxic situations, then there's an element which is not fitting into the puzzle and completing it, and it is your responsibility to figure out what that element is and decide if you're removing yourself from this person, this workspace, this friendship, and so forth and so forth. And that is where the element of accountability comes in. I feel like us as humans, we test each other one way or another every day. You test each other. People will test to see if they can manipulate you, bully you, they can keep on taking. They just take. You never ask for anything from them, but people still come to you and ask for things. And trust me, people have no shame. Sometimes if it's in a relationship, we want the other party to give us closure, or if it's friendships, you can start feeling the drift or the shift, but you still want the other party to come to you and tell you, oh, by the way, I feel like we cannot be friends anymore, or I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. Something that men will, let me not say never, but hardly say. So it ends up being our responsibility to go back to our boundaries, our values, our morals, and assess if other people are still fitting to be in our lives anyway, and make that decision for ourselves. No one is going to change if you don't force the change out of it, out of a situation or out of people. Or if you've weighed the scale and realized that this doesn't even require my energy, I'm not going to force any change, I'm just going to leave, still that decision needs to come from you, because no one is going to love you better than you can love yourself, and no one is going to be there for you and be understanding of you better than you can understand yourself. So something that I've picked up linking to boundaries that kept me being in a frustrated state in relationships and friendships and just in general was because I wanted to mother everyone. I know as women, it's something that, you know, it's an instinct thing in us to want to nurture, to care, to correct, to show the way, to enlighten. But where I was getting it wrong was I was crossing the other person's boundary, because sometimes you find that the person didn't even ask for your advice. The person didn't even ask you to mother them or to nurture them, but you offered yourself, you know, to do that. So in as much as we're supposed to have boundaries, we also need to be cognizant of other people's boundaries and respect them. Let us try not to manipulate someone. So if someone says, I don't want to go to that party, let us avoid trying to now make them change their mind because we feel like they need to be there, or force someone to do something because you personally feel like that is what is good for them. That is not it. That's toxic, and that is crossing boundaries. And also, we need to put in ourselves in a situation where you would like, if someone did ABCD to me, would I appreciate it? And if not, then don't do it, because it's highly likely that the other person won't appreciate it. So us not setting boundaries that are enforced by things that do not change. And what I mean by things that do not change is, you can't have you can't say no sex before marriage, right, as a woman, and then if there comes a handsome man coming your way, all of a sudden that boundary no longer exists. Now it's like, oh, I mean, he can have it, you know, or or if it's you know how these things go. We know how sometimes we change our mind based on, you know, is it a lucrative deal? Am I going to get good money out of it? Does he look handsome? Does he have a car? Or is this friend well off? Is this, you know, so forth and so forth. We need to have boundaries that are not going to change tomorrow when it's raining, that change when it's hot. Boundaries need to be influenced by facts. Boundaries need to be influenced by morals, our belief system, you know, our upbringing. Boundaries need to be influenced by positive things which we know ourselves we would give others without doubt. I mean, of course, people that are deserving, because there's so many leeches out there. People who just want to keep on taking and don't ever feel the need to give. In every situation, every friendship, even with your parents, even with your siblings, even with your boss, you need to express your boundaries, whether by words, whether by actions, or both. And we can only do so if we are self-aware. Self-awareness is important. You need to know deep down what kind of a person you are. If you know that you're too kind and people often take advantage, then you now need to start talking to yourself about, how can I be kind without being taken advantage of? Or how can I help or want to help without being gullible? If we don't set our boundaries properly, we also run the risk of always thinking that we are better than other people, right? Because you felt like someone should have carried themselves in a certain way, so you projected what you think or how you have idealized that person, that situation. You now come back home and you're like, I don't understand why so just couldn't behave like this. I mean, it's common sense, right? And sometimes we say that it's common sense because we feel like we are right about the situation, we understand it all, we understand everything, so we have the right to be right. And sometimes it's not like that. You know, we could be projecting our beliefs, our morals, our views and stuff like that onto people, and because the other person or people don't reason like you, don't see life or situations like you do, in most cases, classic example, men and women, men think differently, women think differently. And if we're always going to project or assume or conclude without proper facts, then we're just going to be frustrated all the time. We're just going to continue with that propaganda of, I'm correct, I know better, I know so needs to carry herself like this, he needs to do this, they need to do this, they owe me, hey. And then it just becomes a cycle that never ends, of you being frustrated, you not being at peace, and you feeling like nobody understands you, who you are, what you stand for, and what you're all about. So the element of accountability comes from this angle. We need to know if how we carried ourselves or how we view others is what we are projecting, either from our insecurities, our upbringing, our morals, our beliefs, or whatever the case might be. We also need to understand that there is no person that is going to make the best decision for ourselves other than us. So if you are in a relationship where you're constantly wanting the other person to do right by you, do this so that you can be happy, it's never ever going to work, because you're now basing your worth, your validation, and your affirmation on the other person. And sometimes you could be in a relationship with a broken person. Sometimes what people are doing is not intentionally malicious, but it's because it's misguided. And because you view things in a certain way, you're now starting to go crazy, thinking that, oh no, you played me. Maybe they did. You don't care. Yeah. If you find yourself in this situation, even at work, even in friendships, if you find yourself in a situation where you've expressed your boundaries, you've expressed what you want, you've expressed how you want to be treated, and people are still not giving you that, then do not wait for them to give it to you. Do not give them another week, another month, another year. Next thing, it's 10 years. You owe it to yourself to make that decision for yourself, for your sanity, for your mental health, for your personal growth, and for your spiritual growth as well. Because sometimes it be these demons, that are frustrating us. You're thinking you are dealing with a human being, Ganti, you're spiritually fighting a demon, So let us be cognizant of such things. Let us go back to intentionally doing self-assessment, self-awareness, and knowing what it is that represents us, who we are, what we're here for, what we're here to do, how we relate to others, what we're going to tolerate, what we're not going to tolerate, what we're going to compromise, what we're not going to compromise, and do not back down on those things. Never ever let someone change your mind about your boundaries or about your beliefs, especially if they are grounded by things that you yourself personally know that it's good morals, it's coming from the right place, it's coming from the right mind, and it's coming from true intentions. Or else people are always going to play you, people are always going to take advantage, and no one is ever going to come and say, well, I'm sorry, I was at fault. Some people know how to do that, some people don't. And if they don't, it's your responsibility to take yourself out of that situation for your own peace and growth and development. I think that's all that I wanted to share for today. If other things come to my head, of course, I'll make a video about it. In the meantime, please do take care, keep well, stay home, and be blessed. And as always, remember to be kind. Bye.